The first false entry reached the Crestview patrol log before anyone checked the neighborhood lane camera. Malik Benton did not know that yet. He was standing beneath a flickering streetlight on Hawthorne Circle, both hands resting on the roof of his charcoal executive sedan. His wife, Erin, stood near the passenger door, with her phone held against her coat. They were waiting for Officer Harwick to finish doing what the vehicle record had already allowed. The registration was valid. The insurance was active. The address matched Malik's license. The plate carried no stolen vehicle alert. For several quiet seconds, that should have been the whole story. Malik had entered Crestview Hills at 10:28 on a Tuesday night, wearing a faded college hoodie and gray sweatpants. Erin wore an oversized black fleece. A folded funeral program rested between the front seats. They had spent 3 days in Ohio burying Erin's uncle. Neither of them had the energy to stop for dinner. 15 minutes from home, Erin leaned against the passenger window and closed her eyes. Malik noticed the cruiser in the mirror. It had been parked beneath an oak near the subdivision entrance. Its headlights came on after Malik passed. Then, it followed him through the first curve. Malik checked his speed. 22 miles per hour. The limit was 25. Behind them, Officer Noah Kent sat beside Harwick and watched the patrol computer complete its return. "Registration is current," Noah said. "No warrants. No stolen hit." Harwick kept his eyes on the sedan. A pickup had rolled through the stop line less than a minute earlier. Harwick had let it continue. A white coupe with a temporary tag partly covered by a tinted shield had passed before that. Harwick had not moved. Now he leaned forward. Cars like that get used to blend in. Noah looked through the windshield. The sedan remained centered in its lane. "They're not doing anything." Harwick followed for another block. At the next curve, Malik's left rear tire passed near the center line without touching it. Harwick reached for the light controls. He crossed. No, he didn't. Harwick turned toward Noah. "You want to write my observation for me?" Noah looked back at the road. Harwick activated the lights. Malik used his signal and pulled beneath the nearest street lamp. He placed the transmission in park, lowered all 4 windows, and kept his hands visible. Erin set her phone against her thigh with the camera facing the driver's side. Harwick approached slowly. He passed the rear plate without examining it. His flashlight moved across the wheels, the paint, Malik's hoodie, and Erin's fleece. "Whose vehicle is this?" "Mine," Malik said. "Where are you coming from?" "A funeral in Ohio." Harwick aimed the light at the folded program between the seats. "You attended a funeral dressed like that?" "We changed before the drive." Harwick held out one hand. "License, registration, insurance. My wallet is in my back pocket," Malik said. "The other documents are in the glove compartment. Just get them." Malik moved slowly. Erin opened the glove compartment and removed the papers. Harwick read the registration first. Malik Benton. He read the license next. The same name. The same Crestview address. Harwick studied the address longer than the photograph. "Who is expecting you there?" Malik looked at him. "My house is." Harwick's flashlight remained on his face. "What kind of work do you do?" "I work for the federal government." "Contract delivery?" "No." "Mail processing?" Malik's jaw tightened. "You already decided what this was." Erin turned slightly toward him. Malik took one breath. Then, his voice settled. "You have my documents. What is the reason for the stop?" Harwick did not answer. He returned to the cruiser carrying Malik's license and registration. The patrol computer still showed a clean return. Noah looked at the screen. "What are you writing?" Harwick opened the officer observation field. "Failure to maintain lane." "You said he crossed." "He didn't." Harwick typed anyway. Then he added a second line. "Driver behavior consistent with possible impairment." Noah stared at the words. Nothing inside the sedan had changed. The funeral program remained between the seats. Erin's phone continued recording. Malik kept both hands where the officers could see them. Harwick closed the computer and stepped back into the cold. When he reached the driver's window, he no longer asked about the lane. He looked into the clean cabin and said he smelled cannabis. Harwick said it once. "I smell cannabis." The sentence changed the stop. Malik remained behind the wheel. "You did not mention that before." Harwick stepped back from the window. "Both of you. Out of the vehicle. Erin lifted her phone from her thigh. The camera remained pointed toward the driver's side. Malik looked at Noah. The younger officer stood near the passenger door. His body camera showed a steady red light. "Officer Kent," Malik said, "do you smell cannabis?" Noah looked toward Harwick, then toward the open windows. "I don't personally detect it." Harwick's face tightened. "You're standing downwind." The air was nearly still. A wet leaf moved once across the curb and stopped. Malik unbuckled his seatbelt. "I am opening the door with my left hand." He stepped onto the pavement. Harwick moved behind him and took his right wrist. "There is no need to handcuff me. This is temporary." The first cuff closed. Malik's shoulders stiffened. The second cuff followed. Across the roof, Erin raised her phone higher. What offense is he being detained for? Harwick guided Malik toward the rear quarter panel. "Vehicle investigation." "You said lane violation." "I said possible impairment." "You added that after the stop." Harwick turned toward her. "Stay where you are." Erin did. Her hand shook once. Then it steadied. Harwick leaned through the driver's door. He opened the center console. Charging cables, gum, receipts, and a pair of reading glasses landed on the passenger seat. He checked beneath both front seats. He opened the rear doors. Nothing in the cabin supported the odor he had claimed. No rolling papers. No residue. No smoke. No open container. Harwick stood and looked toward the trunk. Malik watched him. "I do not consent to a search of the vehicle." Harwick pressed the trunk release. "You already made that clear." The lid opened. 2 travel bags sat near the back. A folded black suit rested inside a garment cover. Beside it was a hard equipment case secured by a steel shackle. A cluster of funeral flowers had begun to dry along one edge. Harwick pointed his flashlight at the case. "What is that?" "Secured government property." "What agency?" "I am not discussing protected equipment on the roadside." Harwick looked at Noah. "You hear that?" Noah did not answer. Malik turned his head slightly. "The case is locked. You do not have consent to open it." Harwick touched the shackle. Noah stepped closer. "We can seal it and request a warrant." Harwick kept one hand on the case. "We already have probable cause." "For the car," Noah said. "Not necessarily a locked container." Harwick looked at him. "You want to supervise this stop?" "No." "Then stop trying." Harwick walked to the cruiser. He returned carrying a short steel pry bar. Erin moved one step forward. Noah raised one hand toward her. "Ma'am, stay back." "Then stop him." Noah looked at the pry bar. His hand lowered. Harwick wedged the flat end beneath the shackle. The first push bent the metal. The second forced the locking arm sideways. The third broke it. The steel snapped against the asphalt. One piece rolled beneath the rear bumper. The other stopped beside Noah's boot. Harwick opened the case. Inside were 2 padded equipment sleeves, 2 secured firearm compartments, and a government property label fixed beneath the lid. He read the first line. Then he covered it with his hand. "Dispatch," he said into his radio. "Secured weapons located inside an unsecured container." Malik looked at the broken metal near Noah's foot. The container was locked. Harwick ignored him. Erin's phone captured the pry bar lying across the trunk floor. Noah bent down. He picked up the broken shackle with a gloved hand. Harwick looked over. "Give me that." Noah studied the fresh fracture. "I'll package it." End quote. "I said give it to me." Noah removed an empty evidence envelope from his vest. He placed the broken steel inside. On the front, he wrote the time. Then the location. Then his own badge number. Harwick closed the equipment case. Captain Laura Keating arrived 12 minutes later. She examined the clean registration, the open trunk, the damaged lock, and Malik's cuffed hands. She did not order the cuffs removed. She called it a property verification problem. The sedan would be towed. The case would be inventoried. Malik and Erin would be released only after the paperwork was completed. At the station, Harwick typed the same sentence he had used on the radio. Container appeared unsecured when located. Keating turned the screen toward Noah. Sign, as corroborating officer. Noah opened the evidence envelope. The broken shackle rested beneath the clear plastic window. He read Harwick's sentence twice. Then he moved the signature box away from himself. I can't corroborate that. For the first time that night, Harwick's version of events had only one name beneath it. The broken shackle did not leave the evidence envelope. That mattered more than Malik's title. By the following afternoon, the property number inside the equipment case had been verified through an independent federal asset control line. The case belonged to Malik Benton. The secured compartments were authorized. The transport record was active. Only then did Captain Laura Keating learn that Malik was a supervisory special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and that Erin Benton was an assistant United States attorney. Neither of them asked to control the review. Malik submitted a written conflict notice. Erin did the same. The matter moved outside Crestview Hills. 3 weeks later, Special Counsel Maya Sutton entered the municipal evidence bay. No press waited outside. No public gallery had been invited. The damaged equipment case sat on a steel workbench beside the pry bar. Dale Harwick's report, Noah Kent's supplemental statement, and the sealed envelope containing the broken shackle. Harwick stood at one end of the bench. Noah remained several feet away. Keating waited near the property cages. Malik and Erin sat at a separate table as complainants. Maya began with the reason for the stop. A civilian traffic calming camera showed Malik's sedan entering Hawthorne Circle at 22 miles per hour. The vehicle remained inside its lane through both curves. The patrol car audio recorded Noah saying the sedan had not crossed the center line. Harwick's report said it had. Maya placed the report beside a still image from the camera. Which source supports the violation? Harwick studied the photograph. My observation was based on the totality of the movement. The vehicle did not cross the line. It came close. That is not what you certified. She moved to the odor claim. Erin's video showed Harwick first mentioning cannabis after Malik refused consent to search. Noah had not detected an odor. No field sobriety test had been requested. No cannabis had been found. No citation mentioned impairment. Harwick shifted his weight. I relied on training and experience. Maya opened the evidence envelope. The broken shackle remained visible beneath the clear window. Training and experience do not change the condition of this object. A laboratory photograph showed fresh compression marks, matching the pry bar. The equipment manifest required the outer case to remain locked during transport. Harwick's report described the container as unsecured. Noah's evidence entry recorded that Harwick broke the lock before opening it. Maya turned to Noah. You knew the lane violation had not occurred. Yes. You did not smell cannabis. No. You watched Agent Benton get handcuffed. Yes. You watched the container get forced open. Noah lowered his eyes. Yes. And you did not stop it. No. The answer remained part of the record. Maya asked why he had preserved the shackle. Because the report was already changing, Noah said. I knew what I had seen. I did not want my silence to become agreement. His later honesty did not erase his earlier inaction. The commission issued a failure to intervene finding. Noah lost solo patrol authority for 90 days and field training eligibility for 1 year. His evidence entry, preservation request, and refusal to sign the false inventory were listed as mitigating conduct, not heroism. Keating received a separate finding. She had seen the broken lock, the absence of contraband, and the lack of a citation. She still approved the tow and asked Noah to support a unified account. She was permanently removed from Watch Command. She lost authority to approve warrantless vehicle searches and supervisory evidence disputes. Her attempt to pressure Noah became a formal integrity violation, not a management mistake. Harwick's findings were longer. False traffic basis, unsupported odor claim, unlawful entry into a locked container, false inventory, dishonesty in an official report, racially selective enforcement supported by the 2 vehicles he ignored before following Malik. He was terminated for cause. 2 months later, the State Certification Board permanently revoked his law enforcement license. His badge number was entered into the statewide decertification registry. An independent prosecutor filed charges for official record falsification and unlawful deprivation of rights. Harwick later entered a guilty plea to the record falsification count after the lane footage, cruiser audio, and broken shackle evidence were admitted together. He received no public confrontation. He was simply required to sign a judgment stating that the container had been locked and that his report had said otherwise. A targeted audit identified 4 other locked container searches, in which Harwick claimed an odor that no second officer independently confirmed. One belonged to Terrence Boyd. Terrence's conviction had relied on evidence removed from a toolbox described as already open. The original property photograph showed a broken latch. The prosecutor withdrew the evidence. The conviction was vacated. Terrence received a certified correction, reimbursement of court costs, and access to a state compensation review. His name was removed from the employment screening database that had rejected him for 3 jobs. Crestview Hills lost its place on the County Traffic Interdiction Task Force for 1 year. The department then adopted the Independent Attestation and Locked Container Directive. An officer claiming probable cause could no longer authorize the forced opening of a locked container alone. A second officer had to record an independent observation or a dissent under that officer's own name. Without corroboration, the container had to be sealed and presented to an on-call judge. Supervisory rank could not replace independent verification. Several nights later, Malik and Erin sat at their kitchen table. The folded funeral program remained near the fruit bowl. Erin answered a family message with one word: home. Malik warmed 2 bowls of soup. He placed the second bowl across from Erin and left the kitchen light on. This is a fictional story,